excited to be back in the facility with our team today. Coming off a really tough, disappointing loss Friday night. Lot of lessons to be learned from Friday night. In areas of execution, some of the details, and in valuing the football. That being said, could not be more optimistic about the foundation that this team has built. When you turn on the film, we got a group that plays with uncommon effort. Is buying into their coaching. Playing their tails off for one another. We continue to develop depth throughout our roster. Noah Taylor with a block punt, graduate transfer from Cornell, has only been on campus since June and showing up in a big way on special teams. There's a lot of things to be excited about, a lot of things to celebrate. Excited about the direction that our offensive line is going and our running backs in terms of establishing a run game. This opportunity coming off a tough loss is an opportunity for this group to respond to adversity, improve because of it, and fully confident that our team will do just that. Great opportunity to get back in the facility this morning with our team, learn from Friday night. Our guys, similar to our routine from last year, are out of the facility here for a few hours before they return this evening for some brief position meetings, initial install in Eastern Illinois, and then a brief practice. This group understands what's in front of us. A very quality, well-coached team that's coming off a win at Indiana State. Coach Wilkerson has done an incredible job. First year going 2-9. Last year 8-3 football team. Very easily could have won 10 games last year. A couple of really close losses. This is a very well coached operation with talent. Experienced quarterback returning that was a all conference player. Very talented running back. Some skill out on the perimeter, big offensive line, defensively, did a great job against teams last year. I think gave up less than 20 points per game defensively last season. This is a team that is on an upward trend, very well coached, and at the end of the day, we need to understand our opponent, study our opponent, respect our opponent, and put all of our effort and intention into being at our best. Excited for the opportunity that we're going to have on Saturday night. We have made a decision, at the quarterback position to, give Jack Lausch the start against Eastern Illinois. I'm excited for Jack. I'm excited for our football team. Incredibly appreciative of Mike Wright and the teammate that he is and the effort that he's put into being a part of this team. Mike will continue to be an integral piece of everything that we're doing. Talk about a young man that's high character, a great teammate, everything that you want in a Northwestern Wildcat. I know Mike, and I'm very confident in the fact that Mike will handle this, like the high character young man that he is. He'll prepare the same way. He'll stay ready, and also excited for Jack Lausch and his opportunity to, have his first college start and lead this offense.
Coach Braun, it feels like at the end of last season, all season really, Anto Saka has just been getting better and better and really hit the ground running through 2 games. Right now he's leading the Big Ten in quarterback pressures. Can you just talk about his trajectory and the work in the offseason and where you think he's headed right now?
Yeah, special young man, incredibly talented. I remember a conversation I had with Anto when I first got here 20 months ago. Was still in his first year here trying to figure things out. And, the one thing I'm really proud of Anto is, the first thing we talked about is just carving out a role. And what does his skill set possess that would allow him to do that early on in his career? And at the end of the day, that was just really developing as a pass rusher. And the partnership between Anto and Coach Smith has been really fun to watch. And where I'm proud of Anto is he's taken that role and now built off of it and really started to hone his skill set to be a very effective every down defensive lineman. but cannot. The way that we play defense, that front four has to be disruptive, has to affect the quarterback, and he's certainly continuing to trend in the right direction, and just really proud of all the work that he's put in and the coaching there that he's taken from Coach Smith.
David, what do you want to see from Jack that you haven't seen the first two games from Mike?
Yeah, it's just assignment sound. Just executing our offense, and then valuing the football. That's something for us to be at our best. We need to win the turnover margin. It's something that we emphasize in terms of valuing the football, and that's something that at the end of the day. At the quarterback position, you're going to have the ball in your hand on every single play. Your ultimate responsibility is to protect and value the football, and it's going to be the ultimate charge for Jack to lead this group, to execute within the offense, and make sure that we're valuing the football.
How much of this decision was you maybe informing Coach Lujan of this, or was this more of a conversation?
Everything that we do as a program, like as I've said before, Matt, sometimes I get questions about this being my program. It's not mine. I'm just fortunate enough to occupy the position in that chair right now. Everything that we do as a staff is a collaborative nature. At the end of the day, all decisions, ultimately fall on me and I'll be involved with. But it was a collaborative conversation and something that I know Coach Lujan and I are in complete alignment on.
And then have you seen, you made a change at offensive coordinator decision to bring in him this season. Haven't seen necessarily the positive production, but do you see the right changes underlying that from last year? Do you see a positive direction on the offense?
I'm incredibly confident in the direction that we're going. It's the same conversation that I had with our team this morning. As competitors, we can get so tied into, being attached to the performance and the result. And then you ride this wave, Matt, of, when things are going well, it's all sunshine and roses. And when things aren't going well, it's hit the panic button. And at the end of the day, the things that we need to evaluate is, our intent, our effort, our processes, things that we can control. And don't get me wrong, in all three phases of the game, there are plenty of things as a football team, as a coaching staff, myself, that we can improve on in all those areas. But I see improvement. I see guys, gaining a certain understanding. We talked about what are the things we're doing well right now offensively. Well, I'm abundantly confident in the direction that our running game is going and some of the things that we've been able to establish on the ground. I'm really proud of the way that the ball has come out on time. Mike has done a really good job of being timely with the football. Our offensive line has done a good job of protecting them. That's something that needs to continue. And then there's just plenty of things that we can clean up. But sometimes when you go through adversity and things don't go as well as you necessarily want them to early on, it can actually bode well for you in the long term because you have to fully evaluate. You're forced to fully evaluate everything. And the thing I'm most confident in terms of our entire staff, including Coach Lujan, Coach Creighton, Coach McGargle, is low ego, high output guys that are going to be take ownership and evaluate everything and continue to improve. And I'm excited about the foundation and the trend. We just, at the end of the day, need to execute at a higher level and turn, moving the ball into points and need to eradicate, some of the self-inflicted wounds that put us behind the chains, especially against, an aggressive defense like Duke that can be really detrimental to your overall performance.
Coach, on Friday night, you said you weren't considering making a swap. What in the last few days on tape made you think that this was the right move to make at this time?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I try and really pride myself on not being. Let me boldly state this: I am highly competitive and emotionally intense. I know that. I think that those are great qualities. You also have to guard yourself against some of those things. And I do not like making decisions when I'm in an emotional state. So, the statements that I made on Friday night, I stand behind it in the moment. I wasn't going to speak to those types of decisions when I hadn't had a chance to evaluate the film and process and really evaluate what was in the best interest of the team. But, having a chance to look at the film, evaluate where we're at, I think the decision that we're going with is in the best interest of our football team right now.
Coach, how do you characterize the growth that you've seen from Jack since you've arrived on campus to the point where he's now making his first career start this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, intentional, resilient, gritty. Jack, when he arrived on campus, great athlete, great competitor, incredible, just, intangibles that you look for in the quarterback position, but not a ready-made Big Ten quarterback. And he's done such a great job of just developing in so many different areas, from throwing from the pocket to some of the things that he can do, throwing the ball on the run and just being more consistent with those types of things with his decision making. But the growth that we've seen out of Jack Lausch, throughout last fall, but specifically from January on, has been something that leads us to have a lot of optimism for not only this week but for the future.
Coach, with you going through it last year, what is your conversations and almost advice been like to Coach Lujan, now just coming from the FCS to now the Power 4 level where everyone's just a little bit faster, a little bit stronger?
Yeah, I think first off, it's trust yourself. I think the ultimate mistake you can make as a head coach is like mandating things from a standpoint of just coming in and just because the result wasn't what you looked for, snap to judgment. Rather, just being curious of our process and the decisions that were made. But Zach is a phenomenal play caller, a phenomenal game planner, an incredible collaborator. And the ultimate challenge in coming into a new role, yes, it's the Big Ten. Yes, it's a higher level of football, but it's also just understanding and really getting a full grasp of our personnel and what our guys are best at and putting those guys in those situations and how to reach that group most effectively. But what I have abundance of confidence in right now is that group is improving. The O-line is really starting to catch their stride. Things that we're seeing out of the running back room are really exciting. Our guys in the tight end room and the wide receiver room are attacking the football. Some of the catches we've seen out of Bryce Kurtz the last couple weeks, A.J. Henning, a huge third down conversion where he makes a great catch. Thomas Gordon, against zero coverage pressure. Mike puts in a good spot. Thomas goes up and attacks it, makes an unbelievable play. Like, there's so many things to build off of. And just because the overall results aren't there yet doesn't mean that there's not good things happening. And just, trusting himself. He got himself here for a good reason. He's damn good at what he does, and just continue to trust the process.
Coach, obviously, Jack's first career start coming up this weekend. Last week, you guys really struggled with third and longs. You were 3 of 16 on third down, average of 8.1 yards to get to the sticks. How do you make sure that you don't get him in a lot of those third and long situations?
Yeah, I mean, number one, the things that we can absolutely control are pre-snap and post-snap penalties, right? It's false starts that we have to eradicate. We can't be starting 1st and 15. We have a couple of holding calls that pop up on first down that put us in 1st and 20 situations. There's technique things there that can be improved upon. Where I give our guys credit, some of those are showing up because they are straining and just so prideful about executing their job. But technically, we can clean some of those things up. Those are things that we can control. And then, trusting some of the throws in our quick game on early downs, and again, continuing to lean on our run game, which has been producing. We all know this, much easier to call offense from 2nd and 6 than 2nd and 16.
What did you see on the last play of the game? Because it looked like Frank had a pretty good shot at that ball.
Yeah, Mike did a good job of giving him a chance, extended the play. Duke did some good things in those types of scenarios, potential situation where they're bringing 0 and trying to get the ball out now, playing off man. They end up rushing 3, dropping 8. There's really no windows to throw the ball. Mike extends the play, gives Frank a chance. Frank did a great job of keeping himself available. We didn't end up converting, but a credit to everyone involved on that play. We had a chance there at the end of the game.
Was it close, or did somebody get a handle?
No, it was close. I mean, it was maximum effort by Frank. He did everything he possibly could, but there was an opportunity there.
talking about the offensive line, do you have an injury update on Nick Herzog? Is he expected to be back for Eastern?
We anticipate Nick being available for us.
Coach, after 2 weeks, how comfortable, how much are you enjoying the new technologies, the headsets, the tablets, 2-minute timeout, all that? How do you feel like that's changed the game, elevated it, or whatever?
Yeah, I think the 2-minute warning is great. From a clock management standpoint, it boils things down a little bit for you in terms of managing the game and managing the clock. I think the more in college football that we can move to a model where we are in sync with the NFL, I think that's great for our players. I think it's great for the experience. I think it's great for the young men that have an opportunity to transition to the NFL. The headset technology, still figuring out how to best maximize that, but where the college game is different, you see some tempo in the NFL. Obviously see a ton of it in college football. So it's unique with only having one headset on the field defensively. And then the sideline tablets, we got to continue to maximize those to make, appropriate adjustments. I won't name any specifics, but there was one specific adjustment that was made at halftime based on what we were seeing on the tablet that played a critical role in some second half success.
And then, Coach, you talked about your own run game, but also your run defense has been great all year. Eastern Illinois averages just 2.6 yards a carry. What do you guys need to do to maintain the success you've had in the trenches thus far?
Yeah, it sounds super cliche, but just continue to play with great fundamentals and great technique. I think our D-line right now is doing a great job of constricting gaps and getting off of blocks. Block destruction is such a critical piece of that. The linebackers have a very sound understanding of what we're doing in terms of asking in our run fits. We need to continue to tackle well. The one thing that I think will be critical as we continue to evolve as a defense is understanding that when you see some of these operations that are RPO based that you saw against Duke when they started to get the sense that they were really struggling to run the ball consistently. Well, the way that they're going to try and protect against your pass rush is force your front seven to defend a run frame and poke the ball into the mesh and then find windows behind it. I think continuing to help our guys understand how we're being attacked, understand the intent of the call to hold off some of those windows. And sometimes against those RPO teams, Tim McGargle will cringe hearing me say this, but sometimes you have to be willing occasionally based on the intent of the call to give up a 4 or 5 yard game in the run game to hold off a window that can be an explosive play in the RPO game.
And on the D-line, do you have injury updates for Carmine Bastone or Brendan Flakes?
Really optimistic about Brennan's return. Not sure if it'll be this week, but cautiously optimistic that we'll have Flakes back. Carmine, optimistic that we'll have him back here sooner than later, but still uncertain on what that looks like for this week.
Coach, one thing with Mike sometimes was just trying to do too much. How do you make sure that Jack understands that, hey, it's okay to throw the ball away, to just take a 1 yard gain, and not every play has to be an explosive?
Yeah, I want to give Mike his props. I think there were some things that Mike did really well. The ball out on time. Some of the production we've seen offensively was Mike doing things with his legs, extending plays. Some of the throws that we saw to Duke on Friday night and to Thomas Gordon week 1. I think it's just a very delicate balance of what is an extended play that can lead to production and really weighing the risk reward and just making sure at the end of the day that the non-negotiable is we can't put the ball in danger. We don't want to punt, but punts are okay every now and then, especially if we've picked up a few first downs and we're starting to flip the field.